lane. Cool, we've talked about his KDA, 9.2 KDA in wins. It does move down to 2.7 in losses, so he's definitely going to be one that's going to draw a lot of attention. We're forgetting to talk about Pawn, who's been a bit of a revelation for EDG. He's been able to create so many plays from the mid lane compared to his predecessor, Yu. He's more of an initiator. When the Fizz was in meta, he was used to engaging on that champion. He can engage, he can play wave clear, he can even play the mid lane Veigar and carry with that champion. So there's so many flexible champions to talk about. I do love this first ban coming out from EDG though. Respect being shown to the Ahri Master. Cool.
Yeah, make sure you don't give Cool that champion, especially on 5.2. Lulu the first ban there for OMG. Azir going to quickly follow as some respect there to Pawn, and you know that these two teams have nothing but the utmost respect for each other. There's the Kassadin ban as well.
So a lot of other regions are playing on 5.3. We have to remember that Azir is still at full power on this patch, so banned away second. Kassadin again, very, very strong, at least till 5.4. A lot of mid lane focus bans, a lot of flex picks being banned now with the Lissandra.
Yeah, good ban there from OMG. These are all champions that both teams have played very effectively. So much respect to Kulda with the LeBlanc ban last year, and OMG gonna have the Gnar if they want it for good going. Gonna have a Rumble open, which he's played a lot of as well. Nidalee's also still open here, and of course plenty of junglers. So OMG, lots of choices to make.
Yeah, we see them cycling through the choices. So much power. I don't believe Gogoing's actually played Gnar this season. It hasn't been a champion he's going for. It's mostly been the mages from him, but he just locks it in anyway. So I might be incorrect on that statistic, but it's definitely been the stand-up plays on the Kassadin, for example, has been the champion he's been going to. But you don't give Koro now. We already said 100% win rate in 8 games is a massive statistic. Also another win in the Demacia Cup on that champion. Just take it away from him.
Yeah, really do. And Veigar's interestingly open here for EDG. So is the Corki, and they just take it up. That could be Pawn's Veigar, don't forget. But right now it's going to be Veigar Corki as EDG's first 2 picks.
Yeah, and they're definitely leaving some undefeated statistics on the board. 2-0 at the moment, EDG with the mid lane Veigar. 7-0 with the Corki. There's a lot of big picks coming through, but none more so than Deft's Corki. Corki's been definitely the standout AD carry in the LPL, and Deft the standout player on that champion. Their use of the Trinity Force power spike and grouping around it is just unbelievable.
Yeah, it absolutely has been, and we've already seen Veigar Corki today and how deadly that can be. No team in the LPL would play Corki as well as EDG, so they presumably play Veigar Corki well as well, and they are going to do it. OMG, bit of a blast from the past here. Rex out the jungler for leveling, but San is going to get his Graves.
What a nice time to walk back into the competitive scene. This is the first game day when we've seen a lot of Graves play, and he's so pumped to pick it up here is San. One of his old standbys, EDG, they are very much set on their picks, instantly locking in Rumble Jarvan. What a duo to pick up. Can you imagine how good the potential is for these equalizers between the Cataclysm, between the Event Horizon? The layering of magic damage at this point is just out of this world.
Yeah, and we've seen that Koro's no slouch on Rumble either here, so 2 very strong picks there for EDG as they get the Rumble and the Jarvan for themselves. EDG basically getting everything they could have asked for so far in this comp, and OMG, I like your point about the Gnar. I'm not positive that they haven't played it, but we'll hold on for just a moment here. We're going to have a couple of things come through here. OMG considering another throwback here. Morgana Twisted Fate are the last 2 picks.
I said wow. I mouthed it out my mouth. This is a blind pick, Twisted Fate. Of course, it could be a mid Veigar. Not a bad matchup at all against Twisted Fate. They could commit to the mid Veigar. It might just be the support. I cannot believe they've effectively blind picked Twisted Fate. A lot of assassins banned out, a lot of great champions at dealing with Twisted Fate. LeBlanc, Kassadin, Ahri, all excellent champions. Lissandra's no slouch either. But they're going to commit to the support Veigar. It will be the Nidalee mid.
Yeah, Pawn going to take Nidalee into the mid once again. EDG, I believe, have played Nidalee twice, but only played it mid lane. So really interesting to see Pawn take it. What do you think of the matchup here versus TF?
See, the last time I remember them picking up the AP Nidalee mid was when we were talking about the matchup against LeBlanc, which is always traditionally a good matchup for Nidalee. She had longer range poke than the LeBlanc has. She has the heal. She can get through the laning phase. It's not pretty, but you get through the laning phase and do just fine. Picking it into a Twisted Fate is interesting to me. He's gone for the Ignite. There's no sorts of teleport available. He's not going to be able to follow this Twisted Fate. Twisted Fate, okay, there's a lot of potential pain coming through if they do hit a spear and go into melee range. But if he can navigate those spears in lane, the roaming and the gank pressure coming from Twisted Fate is going to be largely unanswered by this Nidalee.
And we've seen what Cool can do to people on Twisted Fate before. An unbelievable player on that champion. Arguably Messiah's successor here in China as far as Twisted Fate play goes. And that's going to be the matchup to watch. I mean, pretty much every matchup is a featured matchup here in this particular series, even with Sun playing for Uzi instead. But the mid lane might be where we have to put a lot of our attention on.
Just a very curious lock-in of the Nidalee. I'm not sure what they're going. I would have even preferred the Veigar. At least he has a tool to stop the Destiny. He has a lot of solo kill potential on the Veigar. Both of them are going to be stacking AP. The Morgana in lane, of course, going to be very, very useful against Veigar. It's going to basically negate the Event Horizon if we do see a 2v2. There's so much to talk about in this game, but I'm super surprised to see the Twisted Fate versus Nidalee matchup.
Well, with that, let's stop talking and start playing. We're on to the Rift for our first game. And welcome onto the Rift for our first game between these two teams and our last match of the evening here for the LPL. OMG are taking on EDG here in the LPL. And League of Legends fans around the world, you could not be happier.
There's throwbacks across the board too. San is finally back. What's he rocking but none other than the Graves, his trademark champion. Hasn't been in the meta for a long time, just coming back to China. San walks in and locks it in. And cool on Twisted Fate. If there's 3 players in Chinese League of Legends history you would link to Twisted Fate, Messiah, Zitai, and Cool. 2 of those players not playing at the moment, at least, in the LPL. Cool rocking the Twisted Fate. He's actually taken Exhaust. He's clearly worried about this matchup.
Yeah, not going to take a big mobility summoner like the Ghost we'd often see from Twisted Fate players. So I do like the pick up here. Pawns Nidalee is... Nidalee in general, very much an assassination-style champion, so I like to pick up here. And again, if we have to focus somewhere, it might just be this mid lane. And we have 2 very interesting mid laners going head-to-head.
And often when we see Twisted Fate, we see the Ghost Flash, as you described, just because you get in there with the Destiny, you get the first stun, and with the Ghost, you're able to make sure you're in position to hit the second stun. But it must be to do with the Java Nidalee combo. If there is the EQ into a spear, you know that there's going to be the assassination potential from the Nidalee. So a lot of respect coming to Clearlove. Not usually someone you'd expect to be focusing a camp onto the mid lane especially, but he has the Java and he has a lot of aggressive tools available to him.
Yeah, Clearlove does love his Javan as well, and we have seen a couple of games already this season where Clearlove has actually gone off on Javan as far as ganks go. So Clearlove, again, usually a bit more of a control style jungler, but that was interesting.
That was very interesting.
Did they get a creep? I think Def might have got one of them. Let's have a quick check here, but they started blue. Yeah, they got a creep here. So
the strategy there, Pastry Time, is actually just to kill one of the little minions to enter lane with a bit of experience. Again, you're not looking to take the blue buff away. Of course, it doesn't really stop the 3 from being pinged. It's just a strategy that's developed to give you just a little bit of experience coming to lane. It's not the Krugs, it's not the Gromp, but it's a little bit of extra experience to get that level 2. We all know the power of the level 2 ping. Once you hit level 2, Zhang's going to have the black shield. It's going to be a harder lane, but if they can hit level 2 first, there could be a big burst potential coming from Mako and Deft.
Yeah, we've seen how much Deft loves to get aggressive in his lanes as well. Always has the spells, and Clearlove's going to join him. Mako going to try and find the stun, but can't quite land it, and Clearlove is already setting up a tent for his best buddy, Deft.
A lot committed to the mid lane already. Doesn't have the level... the blue buff yet, does Clearlove. Of course, the side of his jungle is safe. It looks like he might be trying to get the gank onto Cool as well. A lot of early pressure. Definitely not the calling card of Clearlove.
No, but again, he has had some Javan games specifically where he's done it, but we're continuing trading down the bottom. Level 2 hit for both now. We've talked about it a bit already with support Veigar, but one of his big downsides, he does not lane particularly well.
No, he's not a great lane, especially against Morgana. It allows, basically, if you put the black shit on Sun, he can walk through that ability, but we see the gank coming up top.
Yeah, Loveling going in now. Korra could be in trouble. Going in and cutting around. A good burrow there coming through for Loveling for the knockup, but Korra going to try and turn it around, but first blood goes to Going's nah.
Yeah, the jungle pathing was excellent from Loveling. Not spotted by any of the early movements. Now Going picks up the first blood. He started the longsword, so he actually had a lot of combat stats to open the lane. He's going to be feeling great with that kill.
Yeah, we've talked about it. Going hasn't shown that much Nah so far. He's definitely preferred a lot of AP champions, but Korra's already going to be forced to teleport back here, and Nah, who can be a lane bully, is going to start with an edge.
Yeah, we see also some harassment coming into the mid lane. I just kind of worry for the Veigar, just because you put on the black shield, Sun can freely walk through the event horizon for that 8-second duration. Of course, Def can hit the Q to try and get a bit of poke, but the event horizon hits.
Yeah, going in again there. Good stump for Mako, but Clearlove can't close the distance to secure the knockup. So again, aggression here. Clearlove only level 3, Loveling already level 4. So Clearlove with a lot of this pressure hasn't found any ganks yet.
Yeah, Clearlove has definitely found, historically at least, an issue trying to balance farming and ganking. He's usually too far in one direction or the other. He's been excellent in the LPL so far, though, combining those two things. He's been picking champions like the Rek'Sai, like the Nunu, going for something with a bit more balanced control. In this game, though, he's heavily committed to ganking, maybe thinking he'd throw off OMG with that change in strategy early. It hasn't paid off.
Well, his item choice is going to reflect a little bit more farming potentially. He's picked up the Trailblazer where Loveling is going for the Chilling Smite on the Rek'Sai here as well, but actually anchored in the top lane now, maybe looking to gank Koro again, but instead will leave it back here and go going again. Very comfy where he's at.
I feel like OMG have made a lot of taken a lot of strategic advantages in the early game, specifically getting the 2v2 matchup. I'm surprised EDG didn't want to look for a lane swap, just given the fact they're against a Morgana lane. And again, the pawn pick surprises me. Going for the Nidalee against Twisted Fate with no way to counter the global pressure, especially with this lead already happening in the top lane for Going, the first Destiny, it could decide this game, let alone just the first early skirmishes.
Yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, a very bold pick there by OMG, and Pawn did get his counter pick and opted for Nidalee, so we'll see how the lane goes out. Cool actually already has a lead here in this mid lane, so looking very strong early on the TF.
Yeah, he is. He's pushing in Pawn. Of course, Pawn does have a wave clear early, of course, with the change to Nidalee. She does get her Cougar form at level 1, so can AoE wave clear, but of course has to get into melee range, will get heavily harassed. You can see she still has some potions available, but Pawn's basically had to sit on the back foot, keep the potions up, but just lose out on CS.
Kind of thinking about it as well, I assume EDG picked this more for comp, based on, again, they love grouping with their Corki. Vega's great there as well, so Pawn presumably is just adding to the siege potential of this team.
And I can understand that against a LeBlanc, for example, where you can kind of get through a tough lane, get to the late game, and outdo your opponent. But Nidalee's a very different champion to Twisted Fate. It does give them poke options in a team fight. It does mean that at some point they can group, put down the Vega cage, have the poke from Nidalee, and the Trinity Force procs onto turret. So they do have a very strong turret-taking team, but they are playing with the chance that the Destiny can really overtake this game.
Yeah, we'll have to see. EDG have to be super careful with the early game here as well before Deft really gets online with that Trinity Force. And Cool has level 6 now, does have the ulti available, but going to start things off with a pretty quick blue buff here, going to be donated over Loveling. We'll leave that to his mid laner, and Cool return to his lane.
Yeah, Loveling actually never picked up the blue buff, so 6:45 actually picks up the first blue buff. It means the timers are going to be a bit off for OMG, and even the invade timings for EDG going to be a bit off.
Yeah, and we've seen a bit more farming as well. Clearlove, after a few early ganks, really committing a lot more to just farming through his jungle now, trying to get to level 6, and maybe then he can find a gank.
We'd expect, I mean, we've got effectively a double global available for Loveling as San takes a very nice burst of damage coming through from Mako and Deft. You have to remember, when the neural network's set up especially, semi-global from Loveling, true global coming through from Cool, there could easily be 4 or 5 members showing up in a lane very soon.
Yeah, you know, the one place they're probably looking might be the bottom lane here again. Deft, we've talked about it, teams, when they've beaten EDG, and that hasn't happened very often recently, they do like to pick on this player here. So we'll see, but Deft is very good at dueling, very good at getting out of ganks, just a stunning player overall.
Such an aggressive item choice from San. He's going completely for early game power with the Brutalizer. That means, of course, that his spells will bring just that much more damage. Again, it kind of does lend credence to your idea. Everyone pings 6, everyone goes bottom, and just use all your early game items and all the different CC available from Cool and Loveling, and get those kills on Deft to shut him down.
Yeah, I mean, the Freight Train may see a return here for OMG, which will be very fitting given that San is returning to the team for this game. But OMG never want to shy away from some aggression, and we're looking towards some more builds as well. Love the choice by going in the top lane. He's got himself a nice quick phage.
See, that's exactly what you want to pick up. It gives you the ability to get so many good trades with Koro. Koro's got the Seeker's Arm Guard. He's going to be playing defensively. There's 2 reasons for that. 1, Gnar will naturally run over Rumble, especially in the early levels, and 2, he has to worry about Cool coming in on Twisted Fate. So you have to expect that all of EDG going to be playing on the back foot. What does that mean? It means Loveling's got so much space to get in Clearlove's face. He's already behind after trying those ganks early and not getting a successful one. Loveling's really the big X factor this game. He's being completely assisted by both the comp and the early play to just do what he wants with Clearlove's jungle and just seize the mid game for OMG.
I mean, at least for Clearlove, thankfully, the goal's actually very even between the junglers. We do already have a Sightstone before Warrior completed by Loveling, so a bit of an early vision edge there. But Clearlove actually made a very good choice here. He started his ganks, he did, what, maybe 4, I think, around the level 3-4 mark, and then said, you know what, not really working, just going to pure farm my jungle.
But you have to remember, this is a Twisted Fate, and we don't talk about Twisted Fate very often, but the significant factor is if your lanes are pushed in, obviously that empowers your jungle to go invade. With Twisted Fate, you know that your mid laner will be reacting faster than Pawn will be on Nidalee. Nidalee's a fast champion, can pounce around the map, but you cannot beat the instant teleport coming through from Destiny. So you always have to be playing on the back foot, whether you're Koro, whether you're a laner, or whether you're the jungler. Destiny means so much extra implied pressure for Loveling.
It really does here, and Pawn is going to go complete his first shop here. See what he picks up. It is actually a full Morellonomicon. That's insanely fast.
See the flash coming in bot. They're trying something.
Yeah, clearly here farming up, but looks like they're going to go in. Mako down the bottom, does get ulted by Sam, but a good heal keeps him alive. The ulti going to follow in, and Def going to try and find a few more kills. Scrying up down, will spot them off, but no kills forthcoming. EDG go aggressive in the bottom lane and can't find the kill.
Not sure about the communication there. There was no ultimate coming through from Cool, despite the flash ultimate coming through from Morgana, and up top, Koro could be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, Twisted Fate going straight in there. Koro going to get towered over here, and going, gets a second kill, and Koro flashes away.
I was just speaking about the fact that there was an excellent chance to port bottom. Could have been a double kill there, but they'll take the free kill up top. They're going to get so much damage to the turret. Not sure if they can quite take it down, but a lot of damage to this top turret for OMG.
Yeah, going really abused Koro as Mega Knight there with his Phage especially. Just got him so low, and that was the easiest destiny of Twisted Fate's life there. So Cool, going to get a tower and a kill. And OMG, we talked about the freight train. It started to roll, Papa
Looks like
Smithy.
it's going to be a trader. It's not going to be just a free turret. We see 4 members completely collapsing onto this dragon. I believe that Loveling knows what's happening, but there's nothing he can realistically do. The first dragon for a turret, you probably give the advantage to the turret just because the global goal is a little bit more significant at this early stage than the 6% stats. But against Destiny, against the Twisted Fate who's already gotten rolling, who knows if EDG will realistically be able to compete for the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th dragon. So getting one on the board could be invaluable later in the game.
Yeah, I mean, Nidalee also very good at doing dragons or neutrals in general, especially on this patch. We normally talk about Clearlove being the one with the control jungle here, but instead Pawn going to add a little bit of that to this team.
Absolutely. We see also Sarnis aggressively pushing into bottom lane. Not going to be able to take down this turret, but 3k is a massive gold lead. A lot of it's coming in CS. All 3 solo lanes ahead in CS by varying amounts. Even the jungle matchup, 14 CS advantage. OMG, their mechanics are on point, even with this surprising substitution.
Yeah, Sun hasn't really missed a beat, it seems like, when he last played with OMG, so looking strong so far, really justifying the early Brutalizer choice there as well, which again, very aggressive. Loveling has also completed the Warrior enchant. Clearlove has just got his Sightstone, so a couple touches behind, but these are pretty significant early jungle items.
Very strange rotations, though, from EDG in general. Choosing the 2v2 lane as a Morgana versus a Veigar support, as a Veigar versus a Morgana support is quite questionable. Again, we'll come back and assess whether the Nidalee pick was that important for their comp. In terms of laning, obviously, it's basically been a free farm lane for Cool in the mid lane. The damage comes through, though. This is when it looks bad.
Pawn goes massive there, hits a spear, max range out of the brush, and just destroys Cool.
Oh, wow. If you do hit the spear, and he actually had the cards down, there was no chance for the stun card. That's the part where it actually looks bad for the Twisted Fate.
And Pawn an amazing solo kill, but in towards the top side. Going to get one of his own there. Tower dives as Mega now behind the tier 2, and now has to run. Actually, TP's out. Very smart play there by Going.
But Loveling could be in a lot of trouble. The spear does land, but flashes away from the damage. Nice use of the flash, but Mako, not sure if he has stun up. He does.
He does, yeah. Stuns him in, and now Pawn going to move in onto Loveling in Cougar form. They're going to hit the spear. Pawn's going to collect another kill there, and Nidalee's starting to go off, Papa Smithy.
Absolutely. Pawn's trying to make me eat my words. I was not expecting the max range spear into execution combo to do 100% of Cool's health. He didn't even have time to exhaust. I think he was just surprised that he'd eaten that skill shot, and suddenly this Nidalee is threatening to take over this game.
Yeah, Pawn's starting to roam up as well, evening up the CS. That quick Morellonomicon doing a lot of work there for those few kills there for Pawn, but still have to keep going. Cool, I think, ate another spear. Also used his exhaust as well. And if Pawn lands this one again, Cool's gonna die.
Okay, so just to understand this matchup, a max range spear into WE through exhaust almost one-shot Cool. He needed to flash and exhaust just to stay alive.
And you can see Cool's already backing off here. Pawn going to continue to get pressure around the map. I love the traps that he's putting down here, just blocking off some vision and making sure he knows when Loveling's coming.
But that's the second time he's weaved a spear into Cool standing as the minions are breaking. That is how good his eye is for these Nidalee spears. Of course, the target box was changed when Nidalee was reworked, the spears don't hit quite as hard. But if you're able to close the distance and get in for that execution, the damage is unreal.
Yeah, I mean, Nidalee has so many quirks as well. She's a surprisingly good split pusher, despite, at least in this case, going to be primarily an AP champion. So Pawn going to get a lot of mileage out of a very versatile, a unique League of Legends champion, and the spears keep landing.
The spears keep landing, you're right. And when the event horizon comes to set them up, the guaranteed damage if you hit a stun is going to be insane.
I mean, Pawn wanted to go in on Loveling too. He's 1v2 right now. Loveling going to pop in for the Price Seeker. Mako, though, in for support as well. But so is Going. Jarvan actually might have found a kill here. Going going to move in. Spear will miss there for Pawn, who's a little low on mana. Going is going to bounce over the wall. Actually, a ward going over the top. And now Pawn, oh no, he can't get the bounce, but he's going to keep chasing it. Clearly, finally uses the ulti. Good patience there, and a kill goes to Jarvan.
A lot of resources used to get that kill. Okay, they do get a shutdown, so the gold's going to be important. He was also over level, so the experience is nice, but they used a lot of escape summoners. So if OMG can get a favorable trade in, it might be massive.
And maybe the big issue is Cool actually going to get caught out as well. Pawn going to look in for another kill there. The exhaust did go down, I believe. I think it was Mako's there onto TF, and now Loveling can't quite get away. Pawn does not have enough mana for a spear, I don't think, but instead they'll rotate into mid and try and take a turret.
Pawn is not to be silent. He's overtaken this game. At the start of the game, the first 10 minutes, the game was played around nearly. The gank, especially the use of Destiny, was wonderful, but he keeps hitting these spears, and people are being deleted left, right, and center.
They really are here, and maybe the other interesting thing for EDG is that Def, despite losing his in CS right now, has kept up very handsomely. Basically 1v2 as Mako's just started to roam on the Vega.
Yeah, the Trinity Force gold is already available. You know that rotation will come in soon. I guess a small issue for EDG is they prefer to group with Deft and have their mid laner split push. Of course, Pawn doesn't have a lot of AoE wave clear from range. Of course, he has to get into melee range using those Cougar abilities. At this point, TF's probably too scared to split against her, so maybe it'll be effective. But you know Corky, he's finished that Trinity Force, but at the moment at least, it looks like he might have to return to the bottom lane.
I mean, think about Nidalee a bit. A good duelist has decent wave clear. Very mobile, probably at least a decent candidate for split pushing, so I'm curious to see what EDG want to do, but you have to think that Mako is going somewhere else here, although he's stopping the minions right now for Deft.
So far, Pawn's in the mid lane. Looks like Corky's going to have to go to bottom. The last time we saw Veigar support, it's been about the roam. It's been about opening up kills in other lanes. To be honest, Pawn's doing it all himself as we see another big chunk of damage onto Loveling. He's hitting so many spears. I'm just so impressed by those mechanics.
Yeah, he's the one-man army right now, just spear after spear after spear, clearing out his wave, keeping it safe, and dragging back in 15. If Pawn hits a few around this pit, OMG are going to have no room to contest for the second dragon.
And usually you question Nidalee taking Ignite because, all right, maybe the heal, maybe the barrier, maybe a defensive summoner, but to be honest, with the execution pressure he's putting on, he's basically an assassin in all but name.
And even Koro as well, who's fallen a bit behind early on, does have his Haunting Guys, does have his Sorceress, and's level 11. So EDG have an amazing window here to really fight, and Xiang could be in trouble.
Might be a second dragon coming through. The dragon's just spawned. It looks very difficult to be able to walk past all of Pawn's traps, let alone his spears, in order to contest this objective.
Yep. Going though has filled up the Naba, so Megana will be on the way soon. EDG have to decide what they want to do. Koro's clearing out minions, still does have his TP though, but EDG aren't rushing to go for the dragon at least.
So I think team fights will change quite significantly when we see the Zhonya's come through for Twisted Fate. You have to assume that'll be the pickup. When he can position aggressively for either the AoE Red Cloud or the important stun on perhaps Pawn, that could be massive for OMG, but right now at least it's going to be suicide for Core to go into the middle of a fight. They just want to rotate around, take as many structures as possible. They've got two already. They're going for a third.
Corridor does pop the ulti. That's going to slow a lot of people down. It was a good ulti as OMG ran through the choke, but no follow-up there, and EDG will back them off. That might give them enough room to start rotating to the dragon.
It's definitely where you want to be fighting as Rumble, but there was nobody else coming in, but Cool's dead.
Oh my god, Pawn just jumped straight in on an amazing stun there by Mako to set it up, and Pawn just executing people. San almost dead there as well. Pawn's Italy is so good.
4-0-1, sitting on 1,100 gold. You know it's going to be the death cap, the aggressive option second. The spears keep coming, and OMG, they're doing a good job sidestepping, but they just don't have an answer to what Pawn's putting out. Just a one-man army, like you said.
Has to be careful, though. A really strong counterput for OMG, but Pawn is flanking very well. That spear just destroys Loveling, and Pawn pounces right on his head. They're going to keep moving. Clearly, they've already got the second dragon, and Pawn going in Rambo right now. San has to be careful, does quick draw out of the way, but EDG, Pawn is taking over the game on his own.
Loveling had flash available, didn't respect the damage coming through, and died to the melee execution coming out of the EQ combo. This damage is just insane.
Yep, 5-0-1 for Pawn. has contributed and has most of the kills that EDG have in this game. So Pawn doing work might be an understatement in this game.
He was just biding his time. He wanted to get a few levels, maybe work towards that Morello Nomicon, but everything starts moving crazy, but Cool's in.
Yeah, Korra actually, he's going to go in. Sun gets that next kill. Good Nah there onto Pawn. Actually, Nidalee going to go down, and Nah will get the shutdown goal there. So OMG finds some great picks with their Twisted Fate, and that's 2 kills and a turret.
Yeah, I feel prophetic because look was just completed on Twisted Fate, just picked up the Zonias. Straight away, aggressive port comes in, double kill is the result. Okay, EDG won't be surprised by the next engage because they understand now that he has the Zonias, but what a great use of an item timing there from Cool.
Yeah, and OMG have continued to stay aggressive on this map as well. They're still ahead a few thousand gold despite all of Pawn's antics, but Nidalee has finished up a death cap now as well, so major items being completed across the board. EDG with their Trinity Force and Corki now, where do they want to go next?
They don't want to start pushing out these turrets. This is definitely the slowest clip for outer turrets for EDG when they have that Corki by far. They have one outer turret. Both the mid and the top lane still stand. Of course, Deft is in position to pick it up. There's 3 members. Go going, he's in trouble.
Yeah, Rek'Sai going to move in, but top lane turret Go going is actually going to be Mega now fairly soon. Deft, at least try and do some damage to the turret. Deft actually poking very aggressively here. A great juke of the wall, but a good stun there by Mako, and Koro going to move in there as well. But the rest of OMG are coming up. Loveling has made his way up with the help of the ulti, but Deft just does so much damage. That's going to force Loveling to flash. Deft though, going to go in, Go going, going to move in for a massive Nah, and he is going to get the first kill on Corki, but Rek'Sai did go down. Koro's going to use the ulti. Mako flashing in. They want San so badly, but Xiang is going to move in. Does bind on Nakoro. That should get another kill. And there's Morgana. 2 for 1 OMG.
The 1-for-1 trade, Deft for Loveling, is not in the advantage of EDG. Very surprising over-aggression with the flash forward from Deft. He pays for it, but at the same time his team rotates, they're getting good damage to him. He's chunking down this turret like it's nothing.
Yeah, Pawn, not a joke here on the Nidalee again, but wasn't available in the skirmish. And OMG, when it's big scrappy fights, they just fight them so well. It's actually 3 for 1 after it was, I believe, Mako getting caught out there as well in the Vega. So OMG get another tower, get some more kills. 4-2 up now in kills. 8-7 in tower, sorry. 8-7 up in kills. 4,000 gold ahead now. OMG still moving forward.
Yeah, EDG get that first turret. They chunk out the second. So at least in terms of structures, they're starting to equalize the global gold. There's still a significant advantage with the extra 2 turrets, making up the big majority of this 3,000 gold advantage. And as you point out, how much of the gold in this team is on Pawn? 5-1-1, even in CS with his opponent. He's very, very strong. He's got equal gold with Twisted Fate, which you might find surprising, but of course, Twisted Fate's passive really powering him up with that stacked deck. So at this point, it's a very finely poised game. OMG are ahead in gold, but you just feel, in the ideal sense, when they group and try and take down those structures, what is the answer to Pawn's Nidalee and this cage coming through from Vega? There's so little counterplay between those people. And then Trinity Force Deft just smashing down the turret.
And that's what makes OMG's movement here to fight, kind of skirmish in these lanes and not let EDG group that much stronger there as well. In fact, Pawn has to be careful. Cool has popped his ulti here on Twisted Fate, looking to go in somewhere. Actually goes in straight on top of Clear. Pawn does hop the wall there, and Cool gets denied.
Yeah, Cool was waiting to pull the trigger. He wanted his teammates to be in position, but that gave just enough time for both Clear Love and Pawn to hop over the ridge there. They're trying to pick up the blue buff. Denying the blue buff will be a massive thing for OMG, but I don't know if they have the timer. They know about it now, but it's probably too late.
If Go going is still in the top lane as well, and Koro does not have his teleport, so somebody has to go and stop Go going from continuing to split push here in a second, and he's looking good. He's already got a Banshee's Veil. Randuin's is almost done as well, and he has a Phage. This Gnar is just as massive as this Nidalee.
Absolutely. The Gnar is really big, and again, Go going's hidden this Gnar for a long time. He hasn't played it this season. Deft walks up to him, but remember, with the magic resist stack, it's still early game. Deft's going to take a long time to chunk through Go going.
He really wants it, though. The boomerangs, though, going to make him think twice there, and Go going will run away there. Deft aggressive, knew his team was coming up, but Go going much smarter than that, just simply runs away.
Absolutely. I can see what he thought. He wanted his team to go for the aggressive turret dive, but I think it was just biting off too much. He probably wanted to judge the damage. If he had chunked out Go going, sure, commit 3-4 men towards it, but Go going was shrugging off that damage.
Yeah, he's finished up his Randuin's now as well, so tanky so quickly here over on the OMG side. We look down as well. Still some more items being completed. Sun, quite a number of minutes ago, has finished up his Infinity item. A Locket's done here for Xiang, so items look good for OMG. They don't look bad for EDG, let's be real, but a very aggressive choice by Koro, actually. Not going to go the Zonias. Wants full ulti damage with the Leandries.
So let's try and take stock of the items that are finished. We got two superstars in terms of overtuned Fed members. It's going against Pawn. And so which one wins out? I have to give it to OMG just slightly because they've got the hard engage. Now that Cool's finished that Zhonya's, kept up in gold so well with his farming, he can get the engage going, and if the big Gnar ultimate comes through, there's just no one on the EDG side that can deal damage to going just yet. Okay, if they're able to group, if they get a pick EDG, they can do a lot of sieging, they can do a lot of turret damage, but you just have to feel, with the Twisted Fate, all summoners available, Zhonya's available, OMG should be able to force the fight that they're basically item-tuned to win.
Yeah, man, OMG going to force a fight here now for EDG. Dragon up in less than 10 seconds now, and EDG have to poke very carefully, but OMG have such good vision in the pit already. They've pretty much got exclusive vision right now around the Dragon area, although EDG did sneak a ward in there as well. They've also picked up the Scuttle Crab. Dragon is alive, so we're going to see who wants this objective more.
It's the Nidalee Spears from Out of Vision that have really been the MVP for EDG so far. Out of Vision is not really going to be a possibility as the ward control comes through from OMG. EDG, they're trying to clear their waves in the top lane. There's a significant minion wave pushing for OMG. Probably not enough to take a turret, but just another sixth man working against EDG.
Good spear onto Loveland, though. Pawn actually has a second needlessly large rod, so much flat AP already at this point in the game. So those spears are hitting for a massive amount. EDG going to start the Dragon. Xiang going to get poked out massively there as well. Already popped his locket and still took a lot of damage. Going, trying to build the Narbar back up, though he doesn't have that much rage, and EDG going to continue poking.
518 AP at 25 minutes is completely overtuned for damage, but these spears aren't sticking yet.
Mako going in, they want Cool, they use the ulti, Cleanup dives in as well, and Nidalee cleans up so easily, and Korra has popped the ulti. They used everything to get the kill, but they got the Dragon as well, I believe. Yes, they did, and EDG take everything they want.
Yeah, 3 dragons, and that means so much for this poke comp because they're going to be able to disengage that much better when they set up a siege. They're going to put down the Vega Arcades and they have 5% movement speed to disengage. Trinity Force, of course, means that Deft is going to be very, very fast in that champion. Deft's actually been forced to build the last Whisper second. He's been building, without fail, the Bloodthirster second for the extra poke damage, for the extra turret damage, for a bit of safety in the shield. Of course, when you finish that Bloodthirster, you can take a couple of turret hits as you get those Trinity Force procs off on the turret. Needs the last Whisper just to have a hope and heck of doing damage to going.
Interestingly, I like this choice here from Cool. I think after getting Flash Vega already, he's actually gone for a very defensive item. 30 is QSS already done.
It was either sell the Sorcerer's Shoes for Merc Treads and just hope that he didn't die and had enough time to stasis, or go for the more aggressive option. He's basically going to be looking for that big gold guy. He's not really about the damage. It's all about the engage. If they can delete Pawn or Deft, they should win a team fight, especially with this massive Gnar. So it's a very unselfish choice, but it does mean he's going to be behind in items and behind in damage compared to Pawn, basically for this entire game.
Yep, so we'll see how that works out here. Sun, though, trying to make up for a bit of that damage, it seems, and is going for a Bloodthirster second after that Brutalizer, so looking good on that front as well. We're going continuing to get tanky, but of course has just kept his Phage out right now, and Cool does have an extra blasting one as well, so not entirely short on AP, probably going for a Void Staff third.
Sun's definitely just able to commit to AoE damage at this point. He's not looking for any attack speed modifiers, not even looking for auto attacks. He just wants to ensure that once the gold card comes in, there's a deletion on a single member. That's why he's probably happy that he doesn't have to go for the last Whisper just yet. You look down the EDG lineup, not a lot of armor to speak of being completed, so the Brutalizer is going to be doing enough work in terms of flat armor penetration. Can go for the Bloodthirster and makes him a god at killing turrets between that and Quick Draw. And again, just the long-range AoE burst to get that first kill, to just unsettle this EDG comp.
And we haven't quite noted it yet, but EDG at this point pretty much have a tankless lineup so far, relying a lot on their siege and their poke, and OMG have done such a good job of making sure that siege does not happen.
You have to say that the choice of just putting so much gold into finishing this Locket of the Iron Solaria against OMG's comp, it's not the Rumble comp. You almost feel like Clearlove's looking at his own lineup, seeing the Rumble and thinking, all right, need the Aegis. It's only just the Twisted Fate damage coming in. Twisted Fate's damage is low this game. Very surprised to see him spend so much gold on that. Okay, it's a supporty aura. It'll be useful, but the Aegis on Jiang's side, the Snowball Aegis on a support from the global gold that OMG's been picking up is just so much more important.
And San takes the spear and goes to 50% health instantly. That's how much damage Pawn is doing.
He definitely needs that Bloodthirster just for the sustain.
I mean, the shield would help there as well, so San at least happy to have a Vampiric Scepter at this point, but EDG starting to group a little bit more, and that's where their comp looks its best, when they're forcing OMG under their turrets and just chucking spears under them.
Okay, but how long can you do that against a team with a Fed Gnar and a Twisted Fate? There's so many initiation options for OMG, though right now, Gogoing's being corralled. He should be able to get away.
Lilith actually pops his ulti. Good bounce though from Gogoing. Pawn wants the spear, but a good equalizer. Will dodge the spear. They're going to dive in. Actually very aggressive. Enough damage. Yes, they do have it. Pawn just does so much, and they assassinate her now.
So it took a long time, but look at the mini-map. There's pings coming through clearly onto both the mid and bottom turrets. OMG, they don't want to give away free kills on this now. Of course, a lot of experience and gold coming through to EDG, but they're trying to answer it with plenty of structures.
Yeah, Pawn doesn't even have like a Lich Bane or something else that would promote a lot of split pushing, but going to join Sun in here as well. That will be a tier 2 turret coming through. Corki does get a tier 2 for EDG's side, so it's 5-4 actually now in turrets, and the rest of EDG have rotated in. They're going to defend. In fact, EDG going to keep pushing. Pawn and Def going to be on split push duty.
Pawn does so much damage to structures. You'd think Trinity Force Corki was the big offender. No, it's actually Corki, and they get more split pushing done with that pick. I'm so surprised, but Destiny's been used.
Yeah, Destiny and the teleporters come through now as well. They really want these kills. Def gets out of the way. Pawn has to be careful. A great flash though, but he does get exhausted, stunned up there as well. Going bounces over them. Pawn lasting a little while longer. That might buy time for Def to get out, but Clearlove's joining him in. Def gets nailed by a binding Mako with the stun, but they can't do anything, and now both carries dead. EDG have to run for the hills.
Xiang's skill shots have not evaded him, even from the support role, nailing Deft with that Dark Binding. He didn't need to stick around. He used the pop the heal just to give some defense over to Pawn, but Pawn falls, Deft falls, now Mako falls as well. This could be Baron.
Yeah, Mako going down is really bad news, unfortunately, for EDG, and you're right, Baron is available. OMG could take it very quickly with this Graves as well, so we'll see. They are going to go in for it. I mean, Korra's down the bottom. He's got his TP. Clearlove's in the area as well. They could go for Heroic 2v5, but OMG at this point just going to get the Baron.
Looks like Korra's just going to try and do as much damage to this bot turret as possible. He realized there's just basically no chance of being able to contest anything. We see that Minion Wave is doing damage to the inhibitor, but with the Baron-powered recall, it's going to be back soon. Korra's not even going to be able to pick up this structure. No real answering momentum coming through from EDG. And this OMG Baron, you just see the power of the Destiny. You cannot overstay against a Twisted Fate.
No, you really can't. And OMG have played themselves up to 4,000 gold ahead. Next Dragon's up in 25 seconds. That'll be EDG's fourth. And OMG still at 0, I believe. So do have to be careful. EDG have taken a lot of control over this objective. In fact, they're grouping in again. They might just get their fourth.
Yeah, they're going for their fourth. Of course, that would give them that big momentum towards the 5th Dragon. You have to know OMG aren't going to give it away easily. About 15 seconds left on the Destiny. EDG want to rush it down, but OMG, they're very highly item-tuned at this point, and Gogoing is massive.
Yeah, OMG are in the area now as well, not wasting any time contesting. And last time this happened, EDG poked OMG off, but OMG have even more items than before, and EDG, they realistically can't force that much of a fight here.
They're respecting the Gnar Rage Bar as well. It's at 90%. It's just about an ability away from transforming. They have no ability to fight a fight once that Mega Gnar comes through, so they have to disengage.
Yeah, Sung with the Bloodthirst actually tanking up the Dragon as well. Locket getting popped, Dragon getting low, and OMG should be able to get it and do that. Clearlove now forced to get away. Mega Gnar is diving into the back, but Clearlove dodges the wallop and gets up, but Cool able to chase with the Destiny. EDG split up a little bit too much, you have to think, but Cool has not pulled the trigger yet. The rest of EDG regroup and do a very good job of not getting killed by TF.
So they had the vision. Of course, you don't necessarily need to commit to the engage. Of course, could go for the red card engage. With the Gnar Rage Bar falling away, probably wouldn't have been enough subsequent CC to be able to pick up a kill. So probably smart to stop. And with this Baron buffed push, still very difficult, especially as Corki's moved away.
Yeah, Baron going to do a lot of work here. Korra actually has to be careful. Might be forced to use his ulti. Xiang lining up the binding, but does not have it going. Maybe caught out here. Def gets a couple pokes in, but nothing much. They're clearly actually hiding in the base gates, but does get spotted off there. Loveland going to look to go in. The Chilling Smite going to come through, and a good spear there from Pawn, also healing them up as well. But OMG with the Baron got plenty of turret siege.
Already chunked the turret to half health. No Lich Bane, but still plenty of turret damage coming through from the Twisted Fate. EDG, I don't know if they have really the mana bars on Pawn to be able to support and engage. You can see Pawn has to go fill up that mana. They might have to force a fight, but it's against a Baron buffed OMG.
I mean, Pawn is insanely strong, but when this comp's going backwards, not forwards, it's just a lot harder for EDG to win. I mean, they're wave clearing well and defending nicely, but OMG are just much better at straight up team fighting.
Yeah. The moment they overextended and got picked away and lost the Baron, You can't play ahead when you're against a Baron buff 5-man grouped OMG, and that's where this structure falls away. I actually would have liked to see Jiang try and tank that spear coming through just to keep that siege minion alive. So low is this EDG turret. We might see them go for the dive here.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to look in, EDG going to clear it out as fast as they can, but there's not that much time left here. Again, the next wave does survive. Baron still ticking away, so some time left here for OMG, but EDG, they've done a good job defending, but at some point something has to give.
Yeah, the Baron buff is gone, but you can see they activate the Destiny. They're going to go for the hard push. They know Nidalee not grouped, and it's very low.
Yeah, good flasher actually coming through. Clearlove going to dive back into the backlines. Cool. Going to go in. Corey popping down as well. Def gets a kill on a Mako. Going, dived in, but he's so low and Cool. Going to get forced back here as well. Does go down to Def. He gets a double. Loveling now in trouble as that goes down. Vega gets killed by TF, but going is solo. San soon to fall there as well. That's 4 for 2 in favor of EDG.
And EDG, we actually see the teleport coming through from Rumble. They want to clean up going. They want this ace. The last kill probably doesn't mean that much in the grand scheme of things, but it's going to feel oh so good.
Yeah, Pawn collects the last one as well. Really pads the skull, and an EDG defend their inhibitor for now.
So much credit to EDG. They were waiting for OMG to pull the trigger. They were waiting for OMG to actually tank the turret, and then their engage was wonderful. Corki especially was free hitting. Even though it was a low kill Corki, still, Trinity Force, Last Whisper, gonna finish the Bloodthirster now. So much gold in the inventories, 2,500 on both Corki and Rumble. The next fight is definitely gonna be a really different one from EDG.
Yeah, and there's still a gold deficit for EDG as well, about 3,500 gold, but I feel like no matter what comp EDG are playing, we always say the same thing at this point in the game. Their team fighting is unbelievable.
So you were making the point about the Nidalee, and look, if this was a Nidalee jungle, I completely agree with you. Nidalee jungle especially, you're expecting tankiness and engage from the jungle. You don't get that from Nidalee. When they fall behind, they don't offer a lot. But when it's a Nidalee mid and you still have the Jarvan for engage and peel, this Jarvan is very tanky, working towards a Randuin's. Clearlove is able to be the front line, and if Pawn's able to sit in the back and do damage and have a front line in front of him, even just a frontliner like Rumble, who has the stasis and just has the damage to really act as a frontliner, with the setup CC of Mako, very good team fight coming through from EDG. It's not easy, but it's all about Cool getting in the right position to hit that important stun card. It didn't happen that fight, and EDG won it.
Yeah, and they made it look easy there as well, only losing 2, trading in for 4. Def gets the red buff there as well. Pawn just continuing to get big here. Lichbane almost completed for Nidalee. So if you thought he hurt before, it's about to get much worse.
Absolutely. The Lichbane just means the first burst potential will be massive, but of course there'll be tanks eating those spears, whether it's a Banshee Veil or a tank. You're probably not going to see the spear come onto priority member. We won't see those assassination plays from 15 minutes, 35, 40 minutes into the game. So while the Lichbane's important, I would have liked to see, the Zhonya's is completed, but it's going to be a lot about maybe one assassination and there's an instant stasis. Because once you go into melee range, late game as a Nidalee, you're going to be exploded.
Going is such a nuisance here as well. Actually, seems like they are going to maybe look in. Cool has popped his ulti, but just wants to know where they're running to. Very smart use of that ability. In fact, does go in aggressive, but he's up towards the top lane.
Yeah, he's just going for the split push. They wanted vision so they could get the perfect rotation happening. You see in the bottom lane, strong minion wave push coming through from OMG. It has to be answered here by Rumble. In the top lane, Cool's going to push out, of course, with 20% CDR, maybe even 30% CDR if he has the blue buff already. Cool is able to push these waves because he's very close to 40% CDR. So the vision usage of the ultimate is just fine. And Koro is doing his best to push this wave back.
Yeah, we'll push it back. Def will do the same in the top lane here with Mako. Going to take the Krugs out now as well. We're getting to a very tense part of this game. Despite the gold lead that OMG have, EDG have shown that they can defend well behind and still have really strong neutral control as well. They didn't get the first Baron. That's back up in just under 20 seconds. And the 4th Dragon still available for EDG. That's back in 30 as well.
Yeah, the small issue actually concerns San is on the screen right now. He doesn't have any attack speed arms. He doesn't have a Phantom Dancer or Static Shiv. He hasn't even finished the Yomu's Ghost Blade. He's still about burst in the late game where an AD carry is who needs to really carry his team in terms of damage. It's going to be a very low-range team fight damage apart from the huge burst coming through from the buckshot and collateral damage. They really need to recognize that and fight around the fact that in an extended team fight, Deft is going to be doing a lot more damage than San.
Yeah, especially with Pawn's heal there as well if Nidalee does stay alive. So Pawn adding a lot to this team. Again, Nidalee, a very unique champion, but Pawn making it work so far. And you'll see what happens if they ever win a fight and start taking out structures. Between Trinity Force and Lichbane, they will melt.
Oh, the game will be over, absolutely. Between the Trinity Force, Bloodthirster, extra BF sword finish from Def, and the Lich Bane Nidalee. Nidalee was already chunking turrets before we ever spoke about this. Actually, Graves just went over and soloed the Dragon, which helps arrest some momentum. 2 Dragons finished. But EDG, they're rushing the Baron, but the Vision's confirmed.
Great ulti there by Cool as well, but EDG are zerging it down, going. Gonna dive back in, but EDG are forced to get out. Mako flash forward in, he ultis there as well. He really wants to kill onto Cool, but Cool does pop the zombies, going very tanky. Loveland going in the back there as well. Pawn trying to make something happen. Clearlove is solo, and OMG are wiping the floor with EDG. Pawn trying to kite out, just misses the binding though. Gonna keep hopping out. Koro alive with his ulti back up, but that's 3 for 1. They're actually 3 for 0, and Rek'Sai just going in, trying to cut off this Nidalee, but Pawn is kiting. So Xiang is gonna go down. Pawn picks up a kill and gets away. Are you kidding me? No, Sun gonna come in now as well. Pawn, Zhonya's is here, but Cool's here as well. Loveling also in there, and finally TF gets the kill.
Massive misposition from Deft. Usually the savant of team fighting, always in the right position in late game team fights, was caught at the front, instantly burst down by San, and that's where EDG's comp falls apart. It's basically a 2 damage threat after that. Rumble tries to overstay, dies instantly. It's going to be a second Baron for OMG.
Yeah, they'll pick it up pretty handily here. Some more people are going to move in here. Loveling can't tank it forever, but there we go. Sun going to help him. Going will even offer to tank it for him. Loveling might just smite him back out here, and Cool, plenty of defense, actually going to push out the top lane.
Yeah, I mean, Deft just can't afford to be dying first in these fights. Has so many escapes, still had his flash available, but died basically instantly. And between the poke from Nidalee and the team fight all in of Rumble, Rumble actually just used his ultimate right at the end of the fight there. Didn't find a good spot for it during the fight. Deft, you know, we give him credit when credit's due, but that was a really big mistake.
Yeah, I actually like that Cool's finished his Scimitar, by the way. You get a little bit of mileage out of the picker card with the AD, I guess, but, you know, he's fully stacked at this point. That's 6-item Twisted Fate. I
mean, it's a luxury upgrade if there ever was one to build attack damage on Twisted Fate. You have to remember it does scale with his W. It scales off AP and AD, so you can argue that it's extra burst. Maybe he didn't want to commit to a Banshee Veil. He was just stuck with the QSS and said, what the hell, I've got the money, just go for it.
Yeah, I mean, Cool has plenty of money at this point with Twisted Fate. Those loaded dice really racking up the gold, and yeah, he's 18,000 gold to Pawn's 15,500, so he's made some money in this long game.
And when San finally hits a minion wave, he's just about to creep over 16,000. Nobody else in the game over 16,000. So you got to say that's the loaded dice coming through for Twisted Fate's passive. At the moment, it's contributing for just a massive amount of damage.
Yeah, it really is here. And Sun and Xiang will push in now as well. No inhibitor turrets down yet for EDG, so they're going to look to defend again. But you see how much of an issue it is when EDG are forced to be proactive with the engages instead of being reactive and letting the poke come through.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a Nidalee comp, as we say. It's better than maybe a Nidalee jungle comp where you're pigeonholed into having maybe 2 poke champions, say a Xerath Nidalee comp. They do have balanced engage, but it's a lot of heavy lifting for Jarvan. So let's say the Zhonyas are down. Let's say the Event Horizon is down. The only person with team fight control is the Jarvan, and it's a jungle Jarvan. He has a fixed amount of gold income. And Clearlove, he hasn't played poorly. He's just doing what he can. But they need the poke to hit before they start a fight, because in a balanced 5v5 with Going and Rek'Sai in the front line, it's very, very difficult to win for EDG.
Yeah, going split pushing has been so good all game long. EDG, again, insane wave clear. Mako even going to stun it up as well just to make it a little bit easier, but double baroned up cannon minions, making life a little tricky for Edward Gaming.
And this is Twisted Fate not grouping, of course, has the Destiny available, just trying to get a minion wave push in the middle, but the big fight's on.
Yeah, Koro goes in, sorry, Going goes in, and Koro pops his on. He's Going, nards them off, but they just want the inhib. Clearlove, though, going to dive in onto Loveling. OMG, a little bit split. A good stun there for Mako. Knock up there into Going. Can they take out the massive Nard? No, not quite yet. But EDG defend. Cool, though, is in the mid lane, pushing down structures. He's almost got the inhib. He does pick it up. He flashes out immediately and then pops his QSS as well. They can't chase him, and EDG are slowly losing their base.
Yeah, the Mercurial Scimitar actually gave him the small movement speed boost, which is very, very important. No Ghost available. He pops the Destiny, fakes out the re-engage, doesn't use it, and he's back down bottom.
Sun could be in trouble. Clearlove tries to ult him, but can't quite land it. A good quick draw and flash keeps him alive, and Cool has faked him out. Going's down here as well. He actually TP'd back with his home guard to try and get these structures, and it's a little messy, but very creative. And OMG, 3 inhibs down now for EDG.
These TF shenanigans, it feels like Messiah play. We've seen a couple of callbacks during the match day today, but this Cool Twisted Fate, it looked good at the start of the game. Like, all right, he's getting a free landing phase. Then Pawn overtook this game, hitting max range spears out of the fog, getting solo kills, even through exhaust on Cool. And then suddenly the Nidalee pick felt validated. But again, if you choose a champion that gives Twisted Fate a free lane, allows him to get farmed at least. Of course, he wasn't picking up the kills, let's be real. He's only just now approaching an even kill death score. but the effectiveness in the late game, they just don't have an answer to the Twisted Fate split push.
No, and Pawn really needs the Void stuff as well. The spears, like you mentioned, on the tanks especially, are just not hitting as hard as they were. And EDG have a longer task ahead of them, clearing out super minions from their base. And the third dragon that's coming up for OMG should be theirs.
I mean, you might say Banshee Veil is a great item against LeBlanc, but against a champion like Nidalee, who is even more focused around hitting a spear, getting that hunt debuff, and going in for the burst. In the late game, very difficult to go in melee range, so you're just trading upon the 1100, 1200 range spears. Banshee Veil completed on Morgana. She even had the Locket finish very early. Banshee Veil on both the top laners. They can just sit happily, tank the first turret. Realistically, there's only going to be a certain amount of spears thrown out during a fight, and San's just sitting in the back doing burst damage.
Yeah, I mean, he's doing what he needs to do. Just play clean up here on the Graves, and OMG not interested in the dragon that's up soon. He's going to go in. Cool actually could be in trouble. QSS is out, though. Mako does land a very nice stun, but EDG have so much to shake up. Clearlove wants it so bad, but look at the damage. He just gets chunked out there. Clearlove actually jumping on it, going, gets Nard back into his own Cataclysm and will go down. The ulti they're coming through. Xiang takes a spear, but they're just fighting in. Going is so tanky. Korra does zone them off very nicely. Def, can he get the kill? He's going in. Xiang has popped the ulti. San's got the first kill. Def, though, does get locked up, but the damage is coming in. Lovely gonna try and find it. Def is still alive, and Pawn does so much damage. Snipes off Cool, but he does go down, and EDG just not enough at this point. Def's gonna die, and OMG are gonna take the first game versus Edward.
And there's something fitting about San coming back into this team, playing Graves 6-1 and 11, doing his job. He didn't go for the critical strike. He didn't go for the consistent damage, but they didn't need it. They had so much burst and control damage coming through. But going in the front line, 9-3-12. What a monstrous performance from their captain and shot caller.
Yeah, Graves did finish his IE at the end, but you're right, didn't have it until very late in towards the game. And I mean, Going played great, but for me, we talked up the mid lane. Pawn played amazing, but Cool might have just played better. That was stunning.
The stats don't show it. 12-4-2 was Pawn's Nidalee. 5-6-8, but if you looked at structures killed and split pushing done, the map pressure Twisted Fate was able to open up definitely answered the big mid game where Pawn was assassinating people left, right, and center.
And let's bring this up because it's very important. EDG get handed their first loss in 14 games.
Yeah, their 15th game was not the charm. OMG, I had a sly feeling they'd have something prepared. I wasn't ready for the San Xiang bot lane switch up. You would have to think, with a superstar like Uzi, it would make their lineup weaker, but it didn't. It was the role player. It was San. He doesn't command the hyper carries like Vayne. He doesn't command the empty lane farm, but he was so effective on a champion like Graves.
He really was. And let's take a quick breather here, guys. There's one more game left tonight, but it's going to be absolutely incredible. If that game one is any indicator, don't go anywhere. EDG versus OMG is coming right up.